Thank you, my friend. I think you are right. I'm supposed only to sort of engage myself in 10 minutes, more so in policy perspectives that relates to climate change concerns. Next one. I'm not sure whether you can read that, but I think I better say that the IGAD region, which is comprised of 8 countries, is a water scarce region. And therefore, this issue of climate change is of concern to us. It's very important. From the policy perspective, improved water management is very important to us. And this also includes issues related to sanitation, and they relate also to climate mitigation adaptation strategies. Here we see a lot of issues related to increased water stress, meeting future demands requires increasing tough decisions from our end. And this requires also understanding the climate change science in order to ensure that the decisions we make at the policy level, they are all inclusive. We are sure and we know climate change crisis is inextricably linked to water, and therefore the importance of this webinar to us. Climate change is increasing variability in the water cycle, and that one we have also seen within the region where some of the water courses have even gone dry. In my view, climate change has got a huge effect in the water resources availability in the region. We have seen a lot of increase in frequency of meteorological droughts and also agricultural droughts in the region. Areas where we used to have a lot of rainfall or agricultural products, we have less. In the last few years, floods, droughts, and weather-related events have actually increased within the region, and they are also cyclic. And we have seen this in Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia, where some of these droughts are expected after every few years. And therefore, we need to, at the regional level, and I say we need to because a lot of these things have not been taken care of in the formulation of our national and regional policies. We need, therefore, to take into account an integrated approach to climate change. You know what we do as regards water management. And therefore, also maybe a policy change in trying to mainstream the climate change within the policies that we have within the region. We also think of being mindful of climate change impacts as we develop our regional and basin-wide adaptation strategies. You'll see later that we have got a number of rivers that we share, and therefore very important that also we talk of the basin-wide adaptation strategies to maximize the effectiveness of adaptation and prevent negative effects due to unilateral measures. We also need to ensure documentation of best practices and lessons learned on climate mainstreaming into policy documents. I think also like the previous presentation, the two of them, in my view, we also need actually to stimulate innovation and also foster capacity within the region to ensure that, for example, what I was seeing in the previous presentation, we easily inform better policy formulation in water resources, taking in view the issues of climate change. And I think also here, we in our region here, we need to support the academia in order to conduct research and collaborate with public and the private institutions that invest in low regret, climate resilient, and a context-specific water and a sanitation infrastructure for us to ensure that we can easily come up with appropriate policy documents for appropriate water resources management within the region. I was told to talk about transboundary water management, and this is problematic also for me. Number 2 there. In transboundary water, management. So can I go to the next one? We want to ensure that there is a cooperation in adaptation, more so at the policy level. But you'll be seeing that, in my view, that within the region, we have got a problem in ensuring some of these things happen because of countries not so much interested in cooperating on transboundary water management. But we therefore need also to emphasize at where we sit that there is need for appropriate transboundary cooperation in order to ensure that all steps of the climate change adaptation processes are taken into account. Also when collecting data and sharing the information, though that is a big problem also within the region. And so there is also a big challenge when it comes to data and information sharing instruments, because we don't have any. There's also a challenge, not so much of joint data and knowledge sharing arrangements, and therefore problems related to transboundary water management persist. We need water cooperation to help in management of the same resource in order to drive cooperation in the same, like in the other regions, and also to ensure that issues of climate resilience are brought on board. And therefore, water cooperation will help reduce risks associated with conflict within communities or even within countries. Within this region, the Horn of Africa region, we have got 8 countries. And also within the same region, we have got a number of rivers, about 11 or 12 transboundary rivers. We have got transboundary lakes and also transboundary aquifers, which are being shared by a number of states. And the map which follows can easily show you this. I'm not sure whether you can see it clearly, but you can see a lot of blue lines. Those are transboundary rivers. We have got also lakes, and the other shaded issues that are actually shared aquifers by a number of countries. And none of this is being saved from climate change. Yeah. And it is very important that within the region, actually we need to have a very strong policy in terms of ensuring that data sharing and the information is key when it comes to planning and development of the resources. You can easily see much of the water comes from the Ethiopian highlands, and therefore need for the countries to talk together to ensure that they can easily develop the resources for the well-being of the people within the region. The challenges that I often see when I'm here, as you can see all those rivers, we have got no instruments that can make countries share data or information. And you can see information is much needed for planning, or even for development. When you want to develop dams, you need the same data. And therefore, I think way forward in future, we may need actually to encourage the countries to ensure that they cooperate in as far as doing research together, sharing the information, and that sort of thing. Lack of transboundary cooperation from the basin perspective, this is also true. Other than the Nile River, where we have got a working institutional framework, where they have got a Nile Basin Initiative, which is functional, all these other rivers don't have anything. And I think the way forward for us will be to encourage countries to go bilaterally in order to ensure that at least if a river is shared by 2 or 3 countries, they can easily generate information that can also help them to mainstream climate issues, because this is an area where there is nothing. Next one. Yes, climate issues within the river basin, you have seen we have got a number, yeah, an increase within we have got floods. And these floods, for example, I can easily say when I look at what happens in Kenya and Ethiopia, they are very frequent as they are in terms of drought. And the destruction which comes with them, they are huge from some of the countries. We have got hydroelectric power generation. They have got also their own effects in the water supply, in the water quality. Issues of river flows, drought also very destructive, and of course, issues of increased agricultural demand because of irrigation from the same water. And I think there is an area where also out of what we share, that we need those policy instruments to ensure that our region will never quarrel out of a lack of water we have, but we need the instruments to ensure that we can share water equitably. Next one. Of course, within the urban, we also have our own problems with the shortage of water supplies, damage to infrastructure, like the last time Kenya had a lot of this from the Nino, less reliable water resources base because of poor data infrastructure, and also increased water temperature and pH. This also affects issues of water quality and the cost of purification or water treatment works. Next one. Groundwater is not left behind. Of course, we need to preserve our aquifers. You have seen the sort of aquifers that we share. There are many, in fact, not one or two, there are many. And some of these aquifers, like Nubian Aqua, you saw it very big in being shared by Sudan and some other countries up there. It's a huge resource. We also have issues of joint management of both service and groundwater within the region. Here we need policies and strategies that should consider issues associated with mainstreaming climate change into management and development of water resources within the region, groundwater included. Next one. Second, next one. I think in my conclusion, because I had a few minutes, my issue, talking of the policy issue, from the policy perspective, I think climate change is key. And from the region, we need to go back. We need to mainstream it at the regional and the national water policy strategies. We also need to address the issues of data, both quality and the quantity. For many of our rivers, which have got no instruments of sharing the same information. Also, we also need to address issues of problems related to variability in order to ensure that we have got water for all purposes throughout our region. To do all these things, we need to ensure that we use a regional approach, not a global one, and also develop adaptation strategies at the local level. We need to improve our knowledge more so on the storage and the renewable groundwater resources, which of course play a very key role in our future food security. I think I can easily say that for the 10 minutes that I was given. Thank you very much.